whether it's a people. And in fact, the regulators also, whether it's a SEBI, they always have a vision on the digitalization of the modernization through the internet. Very the classic example, where in the 10 years, 15 years back, we never had a banking application on a mobile, but mobile application for the trading was available before the or banking and FFC. So that is the advantage of being digitalization in the broking industry.
So basically, technology is changing so fast, and with the event of all this robotics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, one of the survey says that 60 to 80% of jobs will be irrelevant in the next 20 years. And one of the survey done by the Oxford University, they say that 47% of the US jobs will get automated by 2030. So, of course, there is a fear in the mind of in an organization where the people are working since 20 years, 30 years, they have their own doubt about their existence in that particular company. So, basically, I would like to know from Arun what would be the new skill set required for the maybe say next 10 years, so that organization be prepared for the new challenges like robotics and artificial.
I would a little bit disagree on the issue with the jobs. As industry is growing, the requirement needs also coming from a healthcare industry and the hospital background. We see today the hospitals, we are not even today across India sufficiently bedded to the requirement of industry. So there is a thin line between the digitalization and automation. When we say the digitalization and automation, there is a, as I told, efficiency is the one reason of bringing in the digitalization. Transparency into the system is one reason where we want to bring in the digitalization. Particularly in the healthcare, we want to empower the patients. That is our reason we want to bring in the digitalization. So this not only empower patients, the customer, you have a portability, you get a scalability of the business by digitalization, automation and digitalization, I feel, is a two different things. Automation may take away some jobs, but digitalization will not. Digitalization will bring in more transparency, more efficiency, empowerment to the customer, ethical practices, compliance, all those things, digitalization will empower the things.
I agree with Arun. Automation is not necessarily other way. Directly not one particular component of it which is being looked at. Again, on the panel somebody said it's being outwardly in. The customer has to be the central point or the central point for initiation of everything which is happening. You got to listen to it. Okay, how the technology, Google Feed, Uber, any of these organizations, they have their business model around the customer, and that's why they have gone to the stage where the traditional manufacturing, or the, I'm not saying that it's something which is wrong. Manufacturing is finding very hard to scale up that level where it is not being customer centric. Again, look at organization like Zara. Zara has done a complete customization. It's come to a stage where you can give measurements online. In fact, for that matter, Raymond said, for that matter, there are a few other organizations who are doing this. If you look at from those perspectives, it has to be customer centric. The second thing is not necessarily it is a technology. It actually is a technology in the entirety. Again, I say the mere reason for that is you could be agile, but you are not collaborative. You could be collaborative, but you are not looking at new technology for that matter. So collaboration can be by clearly like over a mail or something like that. But how are you looking at your customers shoppers for that matter? We invented the entire mechanism how they want to sell online business over. Now, if you look at how the industry is behaving, mere adoption of a technology may not lead you to a next stage. It may call for a board level agreement for carving out a new business model for itself, which might need a lot of investment. So merely doing an ERP or merely adopting a technology or automating a part of it is not necessarily the end point. End point is to service your customer and in a fashion that he is looking at. So definitely digitization is something that is being looked at, and there is a mindset which is involved. Talking about a CEO getting involved. We're talking about more than
मेरा फोन ले जाओ
levels of
और फोटो ऑन कर दिया लगा कौन सा एप्पल अरे बोल ना मेरा डाटा खत्म हो गया मेरा डाटा नहीं है कितना करूंगा मैं
and in terms of the attitude itself because it's a continuous journey you can't really stop at by just adopting one technology and that's really got to skill up to the next level and find out in an entirety if this is what it is now how it is going to be the next stage so that's something which is very important.
But I agree with you, whatever customer centric, whatever technology, everything. But it has already created many white collar jobs in automation. I'm talking about world scenario, not in India, because India labor is very cheap and companies are widely investing in automation and the digitalization because labor is very cheap. In a global scenario, there are all chances that many white-collar jobs will get replaced by coming years. And most probable jobs will be technology related jobs, not automated. And the jobs which cannot be automated, like say creative thinking, then maybe say human manipulation. I mean, so our politicians are safe, and maybe say strategic thinking. So those jobs are still will have a age over replacing with automation jobs.
Something I just want to just interrupt here. Look at pre-Flipkart era and post-Flipkart era. I think the number of logistics companies which have come in post-Flipkart era or post-e-commerce era, not to really say mention of an organization, post-e-commerce era, I think it's just mushroom like anything and all of them are surviving. Did we ever see this kind of a delivery model itself in a pre-e-commerce era? I don't think so. Even for that matter, Government of India's post office has got to a stage which is where it is delivering the next day at a particular time. Was this ever possible without a pre-commerce era? Of course, there will always be the best, there will always be a mediocre, and there will always be those ones who are trying to come up to the mediocre level, and mediocre is trying to rise up to the level of the best ones. So not necessarily that automation will kill job. Automation will necessarily job when it is a repetitive kind of a job. And why it is needed? Because there is a consumer who is looking at a value addition at a phenomenal high rate, and that calls for an automation. You can't have a failure rate which is like, even in manufacturing, it's PPM. You can't expect 1 out of 10 of failure there. There are so many people who are willing to fly now. Deccan was a good model. Somehow it didn't survive. Same way, everybody wants to have a branded item. Everybody wants to have his own wishes. Look at Indian customers. Why is everybody, right from Walmart to Amazon, everybody in the universe looking at India? They've got so huge a population. Even if 10% would probably be more than a market which probably they can cater to US or for that matter any of those developed countries. So from the perspective of the consumer, there is a huge amount of demand which is existing, and therefore automation definitely is needed. It's needed in those places where it can really churn out things at a very, very minimal rejection rate, and it is fast.
If I can add on to what Vikas said and such, talk about digital mindset as a topic here, which eventually leads to digital transformation. I think it serves the purpose to assume that it is done for the right cause, and where I see it also bringing in some changes in the society, essentially offering services to underprivileged who never got service. So if you look at the UIDI today, right, it gives everyone the capability to have a bank account, anyone to have a KYC without actually having to visit their bank, whatnot. And if I further diversify this, for them, you have various services which are being built over the UIDI platform. Now, when I talk about underprivileged being served, I can probably see something like the e-learning program. In some days to come, and I can see this for myself as well, that probably you may not have colleges and universities. You have everything already recorded, available to you as a content, as and when you want to have it. Today it is available to only people say, my kid go to a public school, a private school. Two others cannot manage it, cannot afford it, or to go to government school. And two others do not go to the school at all. And now with just internet connectivity and the mobile capable device, and it is capable, you have the capability, irrespective of its data in the society, that you can gain access to e-learning platform, right? And you wouldn't need essentially to have money. That's what the services that probably could be afforded on the FQ now can reach out to the entrepreneur. It will have impact in various industries. You name it, it will have it. And if I just present one of these, I just was on a different conference where they were demonstrating AI capabilities today. So it's more about the first industry, wherein essentially you have technologies in AI, we can essentially scan your CT scan, and they do a much better job than a radiologist. They demonstrated that a radiologist show you the same CT scan 6 months later. There was a 60% error rate. However, if you had AI capable devices or systems in place, it had 94% accuracy. Which means while we had a shortfall of radiologists, we are able to use the knowledge that they are actually using to the 5.5 years or more of their learning. That you are able to
उतनी देर तक चलेगा उसके बाद हेलो भैया
the best of the quality
डाटा
of
ओपन
service
किया
for the patient. Not for the radiologist. The hospital wants someone to do a right assessment through tools or through a person. And the person, and minimum, obviously, you know, you wouldn't want to be people dependent. But people are there, they are supposed to play the part. The machine will not play the part. But the important is that ultimately, as I said, if you want to have customer as the center of focus, everything will revolve around him. So you essentially develop and buy and bring in these technologies which help you to serve the customer better. It may, in certain cases, may have overlaps, where you may have white collar jobs going on, but then you probably see some more recycling to be done to bring them to the next level of probably developing much more. Not the end, it's just the start.
I think two things which I need to take from both the speaker. First thing, the automation. The automation is what is started with IT operation in the last few years, will be more focused on the repetitive jobs. The jobs which are same of nature, which are repetitive of nature, whether it's a daily or a hourly or a weekly or a monthly, those those jobs will be automated. Are already doing, whether it's IT operations, whether it's like in HR, you have the selection criteria, whether it's even the tendering processes, automating jobs, all the repetitive jobs will go into automation. So that will, the jobs of related, the physical jobs or people jobs will have impact on it. The second point, the counter to that is that what the government, our Prime Minister used to speak that skill development. Actually, now the skill need to be redeveloped to accommodate the new technologies and new processes and policies, like digitalizations and all those things, where the things will move fast. This is one takeaway from this.
Very true. As Rajesh was saying, the mass which is yet not targeted is probably more than 90%. The privilege of having anything, be it education, resources, money, time, or whatever, it is only restricted to the top 5%, 10% of it. The rest don't really need to come up. Who does they need to come up? And when they have money or a spending power, where is where is the material or the product available for servicing them? So obviously this will come only from partition. If the churnout rate has to be much higher and the rejection rate has to be the lowest possible, obviously there will have to be things which checks things or puts checks in the production process itself, that the rejection either happens at the instant or it gets carried through without any loss. So that's something which will anyways come up. So that's what I want to.
How technology can help in setting up the technology help?
What's important is that digital mindset is the first step. At least you don't have this drive, you can't drive your digital transformation alone. Right? And this is one of the most important five pillars that usually a digital transformation strategy relies on. Next step would be once you actually have a buy-in from all the stakeholders, which will mean essentially people within the organization going, is actually what's the impact of digital transformation on them. If they look at the change that is happening is with respect to a customer, because they are also a customer, they want to improve services. Thirdly, they know what are going to be changes essentially that will impact them. Then you probably have to bring in your HR folks or leadership to talk to them about what is skilling. So technology plays other role. I think technologies today are available to help you transform or transform your business. And until you don't have the ingredients of the right mindset, the right strategy, which has to be the last bit of it has to be focus. Technology plays a great role. Technologies are available to help you move from point A to point B, to help you to get it right. In many cases, I've seen that it probably be about 3 to 7 years that a company will take to transform this company and have a company that is going to be successful. But all you cannot be developing, you probably have to bring in people, external consultants or others who will use those technologies and bring in those understanding for taking you through the path, right? It will also mean skilling and upskilling and skilling the people. Last but not least, it has to evolve, the evolving factor. And that's it. It is not used to end. The moment we have achieved it, which means that to have probably developed services and products, it meets the customer expectation. The moment he has it, right? That is not actually. His expectations keep changing. If I give you one insight, one personal insight, I reside outside of Delhi, but in the family in Delhi, I do shop online and I get lost in the and I've been using it up for some time. To college while sitting in Mumbai. Right? I noticed all these when they start off, I was sitting in the car, it seems to be offering me whatever I want. The moment I'm done and I'm ready to click, half of the items in the case is not available. Right? And they give you an RP, something that I do not know. Most of the time, I will proceed and go complete that transaction. But it doesn't immediately like while they are digital, it gives me a feel that their backend system essentially are not fully integrated. Before you actually start up a car for that matter, it should already be totally backward integrated into your inventory system. So that whatever is available is actually made available to you and responsible to you, and that's how you make it. So then, you have the tools available, the company has it in the software place, they have the backend system in place, they have the front end have to offer the customer, but the standard should change. What was just something I just have to do a one-time investment or a one-time buy investment, today you want to repeat that, so that is an important thing. So you have to look at it from outside in. I would want to repeat it again, that you have to know if you really want to get the customer back, which has the company in. You have to learn, you have to see impact, and you also have. And I would say there's also a ownership on the top leadership, where they essentially have to see through it from the customer experience. how to bring it the right path.
So, for digital transformation, technology is not the only important thing. The strategy is the most important thing, which will also include the digital mindset and the change management of your entire organization. You have to keep all the people into confidence and then roll out the plan for the any transformation activity. What are your views on in your organization in any major digital transformation? You have said now what are your future plans? Any future plans for digital transformation?
In future, we are looking equity, looking out with a research-based program. So our focus is always on equity research. So now for last 6 months on what we are working on digitalization. We completely my equity research this vertical. The entire data, there are lots of data points in the research. It's a huge data. It's the market data, the segment data, or the pricing data, or the corporate data. So what we are doing is the entire vertical, we are pulling the data from various data points and making it a complete automated. So any trigger happens, I have an immediate update to my research team and my dealing team and my sales team what is happening. So that entire automation and that entire digitalization is already started, and I think will go live from the April the result session of the result seasons from the April onwards. So that one step major things we have done in last 3 months. Started in 3 months and it will take a completion of the digitalization of the research.
I mean, now it is very clear that your digital mindset is required for digital transformation. So now please talk when, how. So some transformation is to be done in your organization. How you will do the digital mindset, I mean, how you will create those digital mindset activities in your
So the hospital industry digitalization is already started taking in place. The next thing which is going to happen is the e-hospitals. E-ICU, telemedicine, radiology information system. All those things are already in place in most of the tech-savvy hospitals, where resources are scarcity. You don't have a radiologist, pathologist, or ICU specialist all across, wherein there is a need in the remote places, remote areas. You see in the northeast region or in the northern areas, far east areas where the medical facilities are not available. But through the digitalization, will provide these services in remote areas. Industry moving towards that, and people have come up with the telemedicine, and people are, we are also establishing remote tele consultancy. We are coming up with the e-hospitals sort of thing as well, where we'll be having complete when where you can have a consultancy, you can have a pathology, you can have a radiology, everything. So that is so where it is a business need also, as you rightly said, that it is a strategical need related to the digitalization. So it's a business requirement as well, because you have to reach out to the people, extend the services. There is a service requirement. Simultaneously, there is a business requirement also, that you have experts sitting in metros or in major cities where these experts are not available in other cities where the expertise are. So through the e-ICU or a telemedicine or a telepathology or teleradiology, you extend these services to the remote area. So you are able to exploit the expertise on this. That is how we are doing it.
so digital mindset is must for a digital transformation. In this, I think we will end up our panel discussion. And if you have any questions, you can take questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the stage and discussing a very important topic, how to create digital mindset in the organization, so that all the initiatives taken by CIOs, by you to get technology by your side to help your organization achieve the growth and advance at a pace and agility that advance is possible. We'll move ahead, and next we have a presentation. We have a presentation by InstaSafe. InstaSafe Technologies provides cloud-delivered network security with undertaking missions to provide a safe and secure platform for companies to securely access enterprise provision on-premise applications, public and private clouds. For the presentation, I would like to call upon Mr. Rajat Sahu, Vice President Marketing and Sales of InstaSafe. Please come up with me. A round of applause, Mr. Sahu, please.
I see the whole environment was set up by the previous panel. Digital mindset and the inculcating. So why the question comes up? Yeah. Can anybody say why the question comes first of all when we are in technology industry and we know every 6 months there will be a new technology we have to adapt. We know we cannot go back to Nokia feature phones back again. Sorry? Yeah. Yeah, everybody wants to be easy, right? So what is supposed to be easy? Are we ready to adapt any new technology easily? Not really, right? Oh, am I audible? What we are talking about, we are a 70-year-old company now. IT person is very young. What we are trying to bring in to the table is something completely unconventional, requires something unconventional. That means you have come out of your comfort zone to adapt to something new. If I ask all of the IT leaders here, managing network, what are the biggest challenges you face on a day-to-day life? How many dashboards are managed in your network? Can anybody give us numbers? At least 7 to 8 different dashboards for every user management, network monitoring and management. Is that an easy job? On top of that, one part was the network side of it, and then comes the security side of it. We all believe we cannot be hacked or we are secure. In recent past, we have seen India's Fortune 100 companies where cyberjacking happened, and it was nice. What does that mean? What are the best solutions which give access to people? There is still loopholes. There are only two cases, right? Either you know or you don't know. As we talk about digital risk, what we are talking about? Practically, today, whether you admit it or not admit it, you will be going to multi-cloud environment. Office 365 one side, Salesforce one side, your native application one side. You are working in multi-cloud environment. And you use a project on multi-location. What do you do in that case? We are adapting, right? How much ever we say we are not, or we are resistant, or we are not taking it, today or tomorrow we need to adapt. Correct? What are the demands come from where? The primary thing is business purpose. Today everything, IT becomes basically a facilitator of every business, and it will be as and slowly it will probably move out of the main business operation to the output. So many of them Existing large companies are doing it, but that is the future. What is the concern? Today you are grappling with security on the cornerstone, right? How do you manage? It's together multiple things again. Compliance. As we speaking about today, GDPR just finished, and there is something else coming out from South Africa called copy. Same thing, again, multi-cloud environment. How do you manage your users, remote users going to your AWS, to Azure, to your native application, or AWS or controllers or any other? On top of that, the work environment, user environment started changing. Earlier, companies used to give a PC, move to laptop. Now you have everybody has got at least 3 to 4 devices accessing office company. How do you manage that? Somebody is talking about CIOs, somebody have control, somebody don't have control. How do you do that? Another challenge. Okay. That's the Gartner recognize the solution what Insight brings into the table. Just to go back a little bit, Insight brings up Insight secure access. There are probably globally now, right, only a handful of companies who are providing this solution. And we are one of the pioneers from India, home growth. Last month we got the Deloitte Company Award. What it says, the network to protect for this kind of users who are spread across multiple locations and accessing your network in multiple clouds. You need to stop publishing your private application IP on the cloud, on the internet. First, can that be done with the patent solution? That is one area of challenge, right? Second, you create a trust focus which will probably pre-authorize every person who is coming into your network and only allow whatever we do know basis application, right? So coming back to again instances, yes, as I told you, 7-year-old company. Today we got more than 100 plus enterprise customers from Fortune 500 Indian companies who are customers. To name just few, Godrej to Aditya Birla Group, HDFC, Amnesty Bank, Winter Finance, have been some of them. So we are working very closely with the large names starting from IBM, Microsoft. We are enterprise ready. But again, coming back to the change, what we bring to the table is global reach because of our architecture. Wherever your customers are, you can manage them from one dashboard. The architecture what it is. So how you can allow and manage and monitor your users from one single dashboard. For what today you might be using probably 10 different solutions for managing the how it does the broad architecture, probably I will not take much time and we are out here. Your application access becomes secure using our solution. If you are looking out for that kind of solution, please do invest in the book research. Yeah, these are some of as I told you. The queries. The queries. Everyone is again a box. We are complete that solution. There is no box. So it is a plug and play solution complete. There is only software. And game both at the data acquisition side and the cloud and the client agent and the device. We are device agnostic, that is OS agnostic, we work with all Android, Mac, Windows and Linux. Correct, correct. Sorry. Our gateway is just near the firewall. Yes, there is no debate. So that helps you to do a plug and play kind of solution, right? Today, if you are trying to manage a remote user to a VPN, you are not able to do a GPU, right? Or a NAC compliance management and all that. Using our solution, you can do that, including your password management or domain organization. Any other questions? Yeah, might be.
And you said that the devices at the gateway level, so like in firewall or our routers, you have to configure different policies as per requirement. So do we have to do all these kind of setup and configuration in your device also, or how does it work? Or it has predefined policies and it takes care of everything?
Yeah, as I told you, it simplifies your admin challenges. What we do is the whole solution. Whenever the device uses a simple internet, when it accesses the application, we mask the public IP of the internet. That means the internet is not visible. Then encrypted today is that 5 becomes completely 500 types. And top of that is the single dashboard. Your inbound port of the firewall is completely closed. So there is no configuration required. Reduces the challenge, reduces there.
It takes care of all application level threats also.
Application your application IP is not visible out there. So at the time of deployment, what we do is all the devices which is accessing those applications are pre-authorized. That means there will be no outside device that can be accessing your network. So that client agent which will be sitting on the device will have three things common: a PKI certificate, the device fingerprinting, and the ID credentials. All three need to get authenticated together to get access. Any one is missing, it cannot get access. That means the user, even if he has got the username, he takes it to go cybercafe to try to access, he cannot. It's the same device, same credentials, same access.
How does it work on the public cloud?
Yeah, public cloud also will put a VM instance on the gateway, and the dashboard manages everything. So we work like a gateway to your application, whether it's public or private, or multiple. Does that answer? Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sahu, for an insightful presentation. Next, we have another panel discussion. Now, as the world is getting digitally connected and virtually all business processes through the value chain are getting automated, the risk to cybersecurity is also increasing. Now, people say that hackers are always one step ahead of us, but then they're also one of us. They don't come from Mars or Jupiter. So how are we developing tools to thwart cyber attacks in the future? To discuss this, I would like to call on stage Mr. Ravinder Arora, Head of Information Security at Iris Software. We'd like to call upon stage Mr. Neria Patel, CIO of GIA, Mr. Kumar Prasood, CIO, Al-Safir Group, Mr. R.K. Shastri, AVP IT, State Bank of India, and the panel discussion will be moderated by Dr. J.S. Sodhi, CIO and Vice President of Amity Education Group. Please put hands together for our panelists and for our moderators. I will announce the name of our panelists once again so that they may come on stage and take our discussion forward. We have with us on the panel Mr. Ravinder Arora, Head of Information Security and Software. Mr. Neria Patel, CIO of GIA, is already on stage. Mr. R.K. Shastri, AVP, State Bank of India. Mr. Kumar Prasood, CIO, Group CIO, Al-Safir Group. And of course, the panel will be moderated by Dr. J.S. Sodhi, CIO and Vice President, Amity Education Group. Over to you, Dr. Sodhi.
So good evening to all of you.
A very good evening to all of you.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. I welcome all the panelists. Friends, today technology and information have become the new mantra of this digital information. Business is being transacted at a lightning speed. Billions of dollars are being transacted across the globe. This shift from information era, from industrial era to information era, has created a very new kind of security threat. Projects like Digital India, Smart City, they have a direct impact on accountability, transparency, and governance. But a cyber insecure digital India, a cyber insecurity can paralyze complete city, complete country by just a click away. So we all accept that cybersecurity is a very important subject, and we are lucky today we have experts on the dial in our panel across the domains. We have Mr. Patel from logistics domain, we have Mr. Shastri from banking, Ravinder from IT industry, and Mr. Prasoon from retail. And the topic is cybersecurity landscape today and future approaches. So I will start from the Shastri. We heard lots of this. I'd like to thank Enterprise IT World for such a distinct for deep diving directly into cybersecurity.
Just 1 minute.
I'd like to touch base on the things which were earlier panel discussion about digital. Pertaining to BFSI, let's focus on banking. Currently, core business is like deposits, payments, investments, safekeeping, reporting. Coming years, these core business will be mapped into three major parameters. Parameters will be identity, information, and experience. I repeat, it will be identity, information, and experience. How? Definitely with the use of AI and ML and blockchains of the world. Who knows? Any other further technology will also come. And when it comes to these three parameters, cyber security comes in. Let's imagine if identity, information, and experience is my fundamental pillar, and if my identity gets compromised or my information gets compromised, and huge reputation risk for the organization. Put n number of time, effort, money, but that won't be taken. Why there is a change in landscape for cybersecurity, as we say, what is the need, it has been happening long, these trends are there since long. I will bifurcate into four factors what we have faced across industry, especially BFSI. Earlier days, malware. Whenever user used to clean some, malicious link or open the attachment, your system is to get infected. Those are the days gone. These days, even if user don't do anything, still malwares are so propagated, self-propagated that it will infect your system, maybe through medium of channel or network. Ransomware we used to heard maybe in the year 2006, 2017. They used to do something, they used to hack something, keep for the whole, they will ask something and they will release. Again, those days are gone. These days, ransomware will directly destroy your data system and then they will demand. Encryption, a biggest shield. We used to shield our data by use of encryption. These days, hackers, they are using this encryption to evade themselves. It is very difficult to identify good traffic and bad traffic in the network ecosystem.
They are using that high sophisticated version of ecosystem to identify those things. It becomes very difficult to our high-end devices also to identify. Last but not the least, our earlier panel discussion has placed upon IoTs. They have rightly said, I guess by 2020 we are expected or estimated almost $300 billion industry of IoT. With almost 50 million devices will be connected to each other. Why do both? Most of the IoT, most of the devices connected by operation team. Sometimes they keep in through IT, sometimes they don't keep it. As a result, maybe initially when they bought the system, that may be updated, but subsequently, slowly and subsequently over a period of time, patches will be receiving. There will be no little monitoring, and that's a direct backdoor entry for the trade. Maybe not applicable to BFSI, but then the cloud also. We have all the processes, audit, everything. It is in our peripheral. We are happy with our company peripheral, and we are totally believing on service provider that the cloud is safe. But days are not far wherein some critical information or maybe some critical transactional information will be also stolen from cloud itself. So I guess because of these three, four parameters, I guess there is a change in landscape for cyber security, at least in BFSI domain. That's what I feel. I like to hear from other domain experts also what they feel in their respective vertical, why there is a change, and of course subsequently we can talk how we can mitigate and what is the role of CIOs and CISOs in our later discussion.
Well said. We talk about firewalls, we talk about malwares, we talk about antivirus. But let me share with you, in one of our research labs, I won't name the brand, but one of the brand new laptop, having no OS, no softwares, no antivirus, just a brand new laptop. We connected to internet. It was talking to one of the IP which we test back and we found it is a Chinese. Nowadays, these malicious applications are embedded up to the chipset level. I mean, the cyber security is the important need of time for everyone, every domain, say private organization, public organization, government, academics, everyone. However, IT-enabled industry is totally different. Any attack on IT industry is a direct business and reputation loss. Being a representative of IT industry, what is your perspective on cybersecurity threat and challenges specific to IT?
I think all people sitting here, I think all will be agree. I think this is one thing. Cybersecurity is definitely one thing for everyone. And I'm a here of Canadian and we double so one very interesting thing I remember when 5 years back that is underlined and they were looking for our secure software that they were developing. They were charging them for our security testing and the back. I think the client is seeing now. And the client comes to us and then now they say that security is the hygiene factor. Like you do the functional testing, I'm not going to pay anything for the security test. That is what we will build in a software project first. Something, it's nothing like we say that most of the people know how to develop a software, but very few people know how to develop a secure software. For IT industry, I don't think any firm can survive without having a cyber security framework and capabilities. On an RFP stage only, when we are starting discussion for our new project on RFP stage, I think all money and everything comes later. Their CISO first set a questionnaire of having 500 questions of security. I receive every week. Once we will give the information required, provide required artifacts, our reports and everything, then they start initiating business with it. Even starting talking about the business. Definitely information security, very much important. Any industry, we will not be presenting different domains. And the new technologies like blockchain, IoT, I think we were discussing with a person outside only was asking, I just completed the certification of blockchain. He was asking why given that example. I told because in IRIS from next week onward, we are starting our overall testing framework. now clients are asking for, they actually know that, time has gone for the traditional approach of CSAT, DSAT that we used to take. They want now that blockchain technology should be RPA, chatbot, that should be a integral part of this. So very much important, and I think we all know that we can't survive. Any firm can't survive without having a cyber security.
There you represent logistics industry where a lot of communication and IT is important. We heard lot of fear of targeted attacks. What is your view and learnings with respect to targeted attacks on the IT?
So traditionally, our organization is which we needed with projects. They, so it's very, very important that none of these are compromised. So having said that, I think what is the great some of the things that we need to do ourselves is that when we look at doing business, looking at gauging where we are. The basic point of view is to gauge where we are in terms of security. What is your what are your access points? What are your vulnerabilities? What are your risk parameters that you need to follow? Because until you know that, all that we implement is more useful in this country. So I think that is one of the standards that needs to be followed and move towards having those risks identified and mitigating those and moving into a situation to implement it over a period of time because all those risks identified will not be able to close within a short time. So I think that's the first step. And the second part is whatever you implement, there will be a time when somebody will know or get better. So I think basic stuff needs to be identified. Basic awareness within the company has to be done. Because I think security is just not an IT part of a working environment. It is a part of working where every member in an organization is aware of all the information. So I think it's a complete framework which we apply internally and externally to see that how focused are you in terms of
I think you represent retail industry. And what I heard is you have worked a lot of on search applications on big data analytics and ISN for retail. What do you think? How much we, as our country, we are equipped by standardization of cyber processes
the companies and organizations need to understand the importance of security. And they have to get into the secure model. And when I say the secure model, it is scalability, awareness, and creating a security culture within the organization. Now, even the consumers and the customers and the corporates, they all need to get on the going on. That's what is going I think you guys are also creating a blockchain pattern banking. In retail per se, everything is customer centric, right? Blockchain based supply chain, blockchain based, you can say, logistics, blockchain based even a lot of people. And these are some of the areas of research which I see a huge potential for a massive, population base who are so digitally smart in India. So that's what I see a huge potential.
I personally feel that still general people living in illusion. We all talk about security, but where the security ends, cyber security starts. People are actually not aware of the kind of security threats our present society has. Even big corporates also not taking required preventive steps that they should have taken. Okay, what is your view?
So what you have stated is absolutely correct. Because of lack of awareness, it's the single term that is the reason what we are being impacted. That doesn't mean it's our responsibility to educate the customer or it's make your system fulfill. What Mr. Prasoon has said, as he has come up with very developed or high-end state-of-art technology. Okay, models. Again, as I said, it's invitation for cyber security. What we need to do? Had it been the proactive, then there won't be any scope and all this thing. It will be a win-win, happy world. But this is not. We have to accept the fact that the cyber security is not a proactive. Unfortunately, it is a reactive. What we need to do? I will try to keep it very simple in a common language. First and foremost, what we do in DFSI, segmentation. Segment the devices which are very critical. What will happen? As a result, my risk will be minimized. When if it will get infected, how? I will isolate. First and foremost, sir has told that secure software designing development has to be there. Software has to be not just developed; it is to be secured software. A terminology used, secured by design. Boss, I'll tell you practically, as the need of market hour or as a need of development cycle, it is near to impossible, unfortunately. As he already said, 500 questions. Is it possible to answer 500 questions? What we end up doing? Same as both these, that, no chatting. So that's why I'm saying we have to be reactive. Second, why don't we use tools with AML, ML, and AI of the world? I guess at any given point, machine will able to solve the dots more faster than human. Make use of the high-end technology devices as a security devices. Last but not the least, what I prefer is like again coming back to the world of blockchains and IoT, where again this interconnection happens, and these are the risk-prone areas. Make that process automated. If that is automated, at least IT people will keep it in the loop, and at least they make sure that it is patched, latest patches is updated, monitoring has been done, and as in when required, isolation can be done if it is infected. If these strategies is adopted by corporate or as a service provided, I won't say it is fully proof. It is rightly been said. If someone say I'm fully proof, I really suspect. Right answer to comment, I am as prepared as I can be. I am as prepared as I can be. This is a diplomatic statement when I give to my consumer, because there is nothing called fully proof in this world, because the way technology is evolving, the same technology evolvement is used by your hackers also, and that too in a different sophisticated manner. So we have to be little bit of defensive so that our losses are minimized. That's my perception, my view.
Great. Sir, we all acknowledge cyber threat, but also most of the people believe that cyber hacker will hack big organizations like CIOs. Why small startups or why even individuals don't have such important data? How much of this is right?
There are two aspects of that. First, definitely the hackers, they will, so there is one term, I was in a board meeting and my, one of the co-founder asked me that, Ravinder, what do you think? Are we fully secure? And, there are so many attacks happening and, we have not, targeted till now. What may be the reason? So my answer for that was, maybe we have been lucky so far. One thing. Another thing, definitely hackers try to target which can give them, fame, money and everything. But I remember when this WannaCry happened 2 years back, I was in Pune, one of the CISO platform event was happening. There were so many CISOs and around, 6 o'clock we got this news, there is a WannaCry, first incident happened. I remember so many small organizations operating in, I will not take the name definitely, operating in 16, sector 62 of Noida, and more than 10 system, 15 system were targeted. It was a very small organization because time has gone now. This ransomware attack, especially, they actually work as an organized crime. Suppose any system get hacked by a ransomware, targeted by a ransomware, there is a toll-free call center number given below. Then you have to call and they will negotiate with you how much ransom you have to pay. So I think time has gone now that who has been on target. But definitely the big organization that can give more money, more fame, they are definitely on the target. But being a small organization, mid-size organization, we should not actually think that, no, we are not the target and, we will not be attacked. Definitely, the attacks can be there. And I actually talk to so many CIO friends within the community, help them of their, building their information security structure. And then I agree with, this gentleman that most of the time, we actually lag on the basics, most of the time. In the ransomware attack, the mean patch, MS-08607, SMB file sharing, these all were missing for most of the system. Suppose these all things were, were there, I can tell you 90% you are safe, but we lack on the basic. Microsoft releases patches every Tuesday, Super Tuesday they call it. But most of the time, IT team actually take their own time to install critical patches, and this is the reason.
90% of the attack happens for the threats which already have a solution. Mr. Patel, do you think the kind of security products available are good enough in present situation considering the kind of attack happening nowadays? Or do you think some more work is required to develop some indigenous security products?
I think the type of industries I work in pharma, retail, banking, this is organization I've seen a number of firewall products coming in, going out. Firewalls with different capabilities coming up. Firewalls with level of capabilities we able to handle bandwidths of them. Also, a promised level of situation by a vendor that we are able to do X, Y, Z. Most of the things, as Rajan said, that attacks are not happened and we are safe from that. But as a CIOs, CISO, one of the things we need to push back to businesses, we need to do a quality assurance. I think from the basic step, which we do quality assurance for any application release or any software bugs that needs to be done, OS level stuff. So why don't we do a QA for security? I think before a release of a situation, or an application release, or whatever we need to do, I think first step is to take and tell business, please hold on. Because the same business comes back to us and say that, boss, you failed on your security matter. I think that's one basic stuff that probably I'm trying to do. Anything that a new device that comes into your perimeter environment work has to be first tested in a solid environment, and that has to be done in a scaled up manner so that it doesn't affect your environment. So QA, other than the ISO part which I mentioned earlier, QA is another part that in IT as a security part is of great importance. And I think that will get us to a level. So as we said earlier, I think no amount of having a complete 100% security as far as a device or into a data center or your endpoints situation. But what you need to do is run and implement basic situations, scale up them for a period of time, and see that most of them have reached a level of pushing back those attacks that comes in. Because every organization is every day tested for attacks. Attacks get worse when you don't take actions on it. A lot of organizations have a lot of logs generated onto a firewall or many of those security. How many of them are looked at? So I think those some of the things are very, very important for us to look at it.
Prasoon, a lot of government has taken a lot many initiatives to take ICT to a rural area. Even many big corporates also taking their logistics or change. That be prioritizing cities. Minute. So do you think are we ready from cybersecurity point of view at a rural area or at C city?
First of this question is partly for me and partly not for me because for the last 15 years I'm not in it. So partly I can answer this question. Partly I'll hand over to the biggest, bank of India, I should say, who has gone into the rural. So I'll first take a analogy of this question, how it is implemented, and how it can be replicated as a solution to the problem. India is a massive country. It's a diversified country. It's a country of diversity. And culture and diversity, and definitely the skills and the various competency metrics and organizational maturity model. These are in different disparate scenarios, and through the digital metamorphosis, which digital revolution, so many sectors, they are definitely bringing a lot of impact in different sectors. Going back to the Middle East, for example, some use cases are very simple to implement because of the effort which is put by the legislation going forward. And also, there are labs. They are in-house labs which basically attract different kinds of cyber diseases. Cyber disease in the sense of what are the various kinds of viruses, big data of viruses. So rather than talking about any particular vendor-specific solution for attacks, for example, there's a lab which basically talks about all the risks associated with Linux boxes, all the Sun Solar and Oracle kind of infrastructure. What are the biggest risks? And there are documented IT governance policies which bring the maturity of this kind of veracity, velocity, and variety of the risks which are attached to various kinds of systems. For Indian market, actually, for the Indian subcontinent, I think there has to be some kind of a governance. If you can, I think the ideal way to work forward is the thing we need public partnership. I think that is the model which can really bring a lot of value because you learn a lot of risks from the public side. So there's a COE center of excellence from the public, and also there's a center of excellence from the private side. I think a partnership brings a lot of intellectual competency in fighting the war. This is a war, right? It's a war. I personally, I have created a cyber lab, which basically invites various kinds of viruses. But understand what are the various kinds of diseases and what are the various kinds of business impacts which can happen just because of
This reminds me a innovative product which we also developed called ATP, Advanced Threat Protection Sensor, which works on honeypot technology. Instead of blocking any malicious attack, it captures, it welcomes all these attacks, and then we take it to the sandbox and start logging all its action, and then we capture those malicious definitions and bring back these malicious definitions to a malicious lab where we do reverse engineering, find out the kind of the reason of attack that from which IP that attack has happened and what is the intentions of the attack. That gives a very different kind of intelligence report. So it's a very different way of thinking. Generally, firewalls or security products block the attack. And here we welcome the attack. So now
One point in addition to what you said is we have created an item master, just like in retail you have an item master and product. Also for the diseases, the IT disease, we call it IT disease or attacks or risk. We have created a category and the business.
and by deploying these ATP sensors all across the country, we are the biggest honeypot network as of now. Very closely with NTRO on this National Cyber Alert System. The way you get the Mausam ka haal, the intention, objective of this project is to find out the attack ka haal. So now I think I will come to open forum if anyone would like to ask any question from any of the panelists. Questions?
Either they understood everything or
Yes.
they didn't. They know everything.
Great. So last word.
Yeah, ma'am, please.
The mic.
To having own cyber security system in place.
It is a loss of goodwill and for the company. I don't want to risk it. Now 2 years back, we saw a big breach that happened in the banking industry. My own friends said that their accounts were they saw removal of funds from their accounts. They got SMSs. And the RBI set up a committee to investigate what happened. No word yet on what happened then. People lost their money, banks compensated, the banks got hit, whatever happened. My question to you as a consumer, you're saying they all look as a consumer. Consumer, the easy ones, will devise our IT strategy, our cyber security. As a consumer, today my bank has got hacked. Doesn't mean tomorrow I will not touch any kind of any bank. No, I will do it. Tomorrow I am shopping on Myntra and there is a hack and all my information, my credit card, my address, my phone gets leaked. Will I stop shopping on Amazon? Our companies really working towards cybersecurity. Is there a peanut factor working?
So I'll be coming back to first question with our money saved.
Absolutely. Well, I like to update, ma'am. When it comes to security, and rather when it comes to consumer protection, there is something called non-reputation. Non-reputation is a clause where consumer get protection. As per IT Act, second factor authentication is mandatory for any transaction. If customer has used second factor authentication for performing any transaction, bank is. If it is happened through first factor authentication,
That happens to be alien. When we go to an online transaction, based on the fraud, the visa.
what you have said couple of years back, what I remember or what I recollect, there was something called card scheming. There was some card scheming. Now this is like it's like no one to blame. Neither consumer is to blame, nor bank or nor that ecosystem there has to be blamed because that is something malicious, intentional, criminal activity has been done. And as per that also, I guess there are certain nominal amount which is safeguarded by regulators, by a bank or other organizations. Not in our bank, but I have heard that because of in Mumbai itself, there was one bank, they have to repay certain amount of money to consumer. This is the recent verdict I'm trying. They have also lost certain money in ATM and it was very difficult for bank to protect, as you rightly said, because if he says no, I've not used at all. I have not given card to anyone or I have not shared credential to anyone. So it's very difficult for bank to protect themselves through non-reputation, especially for card. For online transaction, yes, bank has a full protection. But for this card kind of thing, it becomes a little bit of dicey kind of scenario. Unfortunately, it has not clearly come out in IT Act 2000 also, IT Act 2008 also. So this time it becomes little dicey. Sometimes it may happen that consumer is also at receiving it. He may get justice, but it may be too late to get that. I can agree. But then again, we have to be little smart enough over here that once you swipe the card, you enter your credentials. Make sure that there is nothing called camera here, or there is nothing called that typewriter kind of. It's very difficult for common layman to do. But then yeah, we have to be further enhance or strengthen our security, external security rather.
When it comes to banking, there are no ATMs. It will be done by mobiles, and mobiles are.
Ma'am, your money is quite safe, and the rest of the.
Why don't you bank with State Bank of India? You will be more safe. Ask your friend to bank with State Bank of India.
My cousin already has a grievance. Her card was hacked, a debit card, and she has not been compensated after 3 months of following.
So rest of the discussion we'll take offline. Right.
Just
So
see the thing.
before.
So these are the concept. If the only thing is what she's trying, or what probably is the concern here is, as an organization, all of us from the organization, but as an organization, as a banking institution, is it not the responsibility of the bank, whether it is at an ATM or it is at a two-factor authentication failure or whatever it is it not the responsibility of that institution? When you, me sitting and discussing here cyber security for all our organizations, is it not our duty or our principal's duty to secure to that extent? I think we're missing something.
Absolutely, it's the responsibility of the service provider, and service provider over is back your regulators.
And I'm sure that when you sign up a contract with a service provider, I'm sure there is some kind of an overlap where you don't just shun the responsibility and say, okay, well, bank has got a responsibility this, and now it is this particular domain, so it's not out of, it is actually out of my purview. I'm sure there will be some kind of an overlap.
Both ways. What you are saying is genuine case. If suppose 10 out of 1 people is saying the genuine way, there are 9 people who are just putting the story and coming with something.
I am not trying to blame that, but what I'm saying is every year something or other happens. Yahoo happened, Citibank happened, every year there is some event. And who is at the loss? Only the consumer. And we discussed, yes, cyber security is important. It's being implemented with all of our effort. We've seen there is no breach happening, but still the loss happens, either in money or in credentials.
I agree with there is no, I don't think anyone can say that there is a foolproof, solution for this, because these hackers, they always actually work, one step ahead with all of this work protecting the data and everything. One small solution to this that has been started by some private bank now is called cyber insurance. Okay, so that in any cyber attack, suppose you are depositing your money or something like that, with some insurance you can opt out, some premium you have to pay, and in case of loss, that cyber insurance will give you some money. But based on my experience, I totally agree with you that is a case. But 70% of the cases in which basically money has been lost, that is again because of the lack of user awareness security. With due respect with all of you, I actually go and deliver so many training sessions on security for CIO, IT community, bank staff and everything. Very small question I ask, do you know the difference between a very basic I'm asking? Do you know the difference between a phishing and smishing? Very basic, very basic. Phishing, smishing and phishing. So phishing is basically when you get a call, a fraud call, and they try to manipulate with you with their social engineering attack. They will ask for your CV. And phishing is when you get something on email, maybe a link that you will click and you will be redirected. Smishing is when you will get the same link on the SMS now, which is very popular. I received one SMS on a few days back on WhatsApp that Amazon big sale, something like that. I immediately replied to that guy that the link, when you will click on that, it was not a secure link, it was a HTTP link, and you will compare with the Amazon website that they were giving 398 iPhone 8 or something like that. So even user awareness is very important, very important. Most of the time in India, especially now, I am sure you all must be aware, there is a village in Jharkhand called Jamtara. In that village, there are around 100 homes in that village. In 90 homes, the people, those who are not educated, they are having multiple SIM card. Every day when they wake up in the morning, they start their user database. They start calling people, they try to fool them, they try to get their CV number, card details and everything. So I think situation has really changed, and we should ask about our money from the bank, but ownership lies with us again. So we really have to be aware. Thank you.
So in the last, I'll ask last word from all the panelists. What are the advisors to stay ahead of the game?
Well, when it comes to organization per se, we have been complicated the things. Trying to keep it things very simple. If you want to safeguard our interest, have proper planning process in place, have necessary tools, devices in place, and last but not the least, have proper guidance from necessary stakeholders. Because you may not be the perfect in that area. And in terms of consumer per se, try to educate the customer as much as possible.
Simple and proper process. Ravinder.
Here's something
Just last few words.
Yeah, last few from the organization point of view, I think it's a top-down approach awareness. I think management should be taken accountability and well aware about the information security and data safety should be circulated to below the level. That is the only cure you can have.
Standard quality assurance and obviously awareness and knowledge. Awareness with it's an awareness which has to be there, but at the same time, governance is very, very important. And monitor whether that awareness is there.
Friends, be cyber aware and be safe. Thank you so much.
For a very interesting discussion on cybersecurity. It is something that affects everyone, but I think my experience is such that when there is a hack that affects the customer, it is on the newspapers, it's on the front pages, but when an attack happens to a company, and it could be big, it gets hushed up, and very few people actually come to know about it. Nevertheless, all efforts must be made to ensure networks of companies are safe. Let's move on, and now we will have a presentation from you, from our partners from Control S. Control S is a tier 4 data center in India which has enabled its clients to make the paradigm shift from captive data center model to outsourced one by offering network computer servers for remote storage, backup, and processing. Let's welcome on stage Mr. P.S. Rao, Vice President Marketing, Control S, who will now give us a presentation. Please put your hands together for Mr. P.S. Rao.
So, very good evening, gentlemen, and Sanjeev and Sanjay are here. In just call them things. So, very good evening to all of you, and it's a very special evening. It's a matter of great pride that India is celebrating CIOs. I think Change Agents 200 is certainly a larger platform. I wish to congratulate Sanjeev and Sanjay for having such a broad-minded thought process to be ever inclusive. Predominantly, India has always honored only the 100 CIOs, and I wholeheartedly congratulate them for their innovative thinking to make sure that all the CIOs who play a very key role in shaping the economy of the country are recognized on the one platform called the Change Agents. I know they have bigger plans, but I think congratulations to all of you. It's a special day for any gentleman or lady. We grow up being infants, grow up to be teenagers, then we get educated, parents have expectations from us, we get into a job, and then starts the journey of self-help. And as we continue to work in an organization, either the organization recognizes us, or the bosses recognizes us, or neither of them recognizes us. In any of those cases, I think a platform of this nature plays a key role in, probably considering the amount of, efforts that you deployed in the country over the last couple of decades, and for bringing you all together to share your experiences. I think it's a beautiful platform. Thanks, Sanjeev and Sanjay. And it's a pleasure for us to support such initiatives. Control S has always voiced itself to support CIOs. We also have helped the CIO Club start several chapters in the country because we firmly believe that transformation of a business cannot happen without CIOs. So in that sense, every one of us seated in this room has played a key role. So usually, service provider presentations tend to be about the technology. We thought we will, for a change, talk differently. So myself and a couple of my industry friends are authoring a book on CIOs. And there have been some research inputs that have come to our notice. As we continue to research, the book will be out in probably next 24 months. We did a very deep research globally. And I thought this would be a great platform because it's a change agents evening to bring in some insights to help us and understand. So these are just quick glimpses in terms of what research has thrown at us. Not completely vetted, but I thought maybe it'd be a great evening to actually share this with all of us. So, move the slide. So, first of all, congratulations to all of you. A well-deserved evening. I'm sure Sanjay and Sanjeev, you're making sure the celebration was great today. Yeah, I'm sure all of you are ready. Many more friends, I think, driving in. Some of them settling down. So, congratulations, a special evening today. But having said that, the good news was that we're celebrating, but the bad news, or the bad news is not on the way, but the research has shown that CIOs could well become extinct. Now, while I had the slide prepared, I knew all of us will have question marks. But let me tell you, there are different sets of CIOs that manage the enterprise. And what the research actually exposed to us is that those CIOs who predominantly grew from IT function, managing MIS, to managing IT operationally and not strategically, and could not get into the strategic role, will become extinct. Not any of you here over here. All of you who are the change agents, there's a very little chance, probably a 5% chance that they could become extinct. But the non-change agents in the country will have to give way to a new way of thinking, a new breed of CIOs. So, what is bothering the CIOs, and what are the challenges faced by CIOs today? So, one of the first challenges that when we interviewed some of them, they said, unpredictable budgets. The unpredictable budgets. So, we asked them a question, what is it? He says, my CEO has cut a 20% budget unreasonably on my IT. And he's my reporting boss. I know what to do with it. So we said, okay, what do you plan to do? So some of the CIOs said, I know what to do. They said, I'll probably embrace a newer technology from physical hardware to maybe virtualization. So we talked to one of the banking CIOs, whose CEO brief was out of fintech, rather not bank, but fintech, whose boss told him to cut the budget by 60%. So you know what he did? He deployed all his applications in cloud. But still he didn't achieve the 60%. He still achieved around 20%. So what it means is that they ask from the management to align with the business need. Now, if CIOs don't align, non-alignment would only mean derailment. So I think one of the very important things is that we ought to align with unpredictable changes. Budget is just a symptom. There can be unpredictable asks from the LOBs, it could be from the board, it could be anything else. Yeah. Second most important challenge that CIOs explained to us was the fast and unpredictable business growth. They said the business growing so fast, unlike what it was in 80s or 90s. It's becoming very difficult to cope with change. So as the business is growing, the business is asking the CIOs to change. Now there is a need for newer technology to manage that. So I'm sure a few of us would have faced these challenges, did we? Are we not facing? So this is one challenge, but it's not a challenge which we cannot overcome. It's a challenge which is not a very tricky one, but one has to work very closely with the relevant teams. The third is the expectation by CEOs. There is rising expectation from CEOs in the board. They believe that CIOs have a magic wand, right? I will ask my IT head to, in the last 20 years, he's been doing a marvelous job. So I'm asking him something now. Tell me when the machine will collapse. When the machine will collapse. How can, he's not a doctor, CIO is not a doctor. So what he's meaning to say is simple. I don't want any breakdowns of vehicles in fleet management. Please get me a solution. Which means he's saying deploy IoT into those vehicles and see, do a pilot and tell me how it performs. If the cost of operation is minimalistic, we save some costs. We make sure that the customers are delighted. So there are certain things that the CEO is asking for. We got to keep listening to the CEOs very closely and the board, because the board is getting impatient sometimes. Security is a major aspect. I think the panel, the distinguished panel actually talked about security, and we had several of us asking questions as banking customers. Security is a very, very key concern. In fact, one of the CIOs was almost asked to leave the organization because there was security. And you won't believe it, he was a veteran in that company for 20 years. The second generation of the owners were not kind to him. So the chairman said, I'm making an exception for this gentleman for the services he has rendered to us, and said, I'm giving you a second chance. Beyond my sons, I'm overruling my son. Bring in a security practice. So he brought in a CISO who eventually reported to him, and he salvaged the situation. But that's not true everywhere. Not every founder of a company is very kind to a CIO. So, how many of us work very closely with CEOs? Almost everybody. All right. 3 of us work with CEOs, 3 of us work with boards. So what are the CEOs looking for us? I mean, what are they looking in within a CIO? What do you think they look for in a CIO? Our research is still incomplete, but we're still trying to pick up some threads. So, what do you think a CEO looks for in a CIO? Alignment to business, okay. Sorry? Okay. ROI, perfect. Perfect. Sorry? Working? Okay. Perfect, perfect, okay. So a lot of things have to do with money and things like that, right? Can we have the next slide, please? So what a CEO, 3 of the CEOs we didn't personally meet and talk to them. So what do you expect from a CIO? He said, I want my CIO to work with me like this in a cockpit. He said, this is my secret desire. I want my CIO to be a strategist. He said, I'm tired of imagining this. So I asked him, why are you tired? He said, listen, my expectations are to saturate the demands of the stakeholders, customers, margins, top line, enhancing the bottom line. But sometimes my CIOs don't measure up to them. My IT team doesn't measure up to them. So I know why he said that. We still are we're still surveying many more CEOs. I'm just sharing the insight with you. So it's very important for all of us as CIOs to understand the CEO's mind. It's important to, if it's not the CEO, maybe the reporting boss, who reports into eventually the board, find time and meet the CEO. Understand what the CEO is looking for. Is he looking for motivations? What is the motivation? Is it to delight the customer? Is it to make sure business is up and running without any problem? Is it to bring in a competitive advantage? Do we understand what the CEO constraints are? Can we align IT to his constraints and eradicate those constraints? It's very important to work in partnership, is what CEOs say. CEOs say, I want CIO to work with me very closely. Quite often, we ask them, who do you work very closely with? You know what is the answer? We ask them, who do you work very closely with in your organization? Sorry? See? Perfect. Yes, many of them said that they work very closely with CFO because there are several challenges that they have. One is cash flow, raising capital, mergers and acquisition, a lot of other things, right? And sometimes customer challenges, right? Sometimes there's a logistics issues, right? There are legal issues. So those who have the blend of that are able to understand strategic challenges. The CEO is willing to work with them very closely. So what is a CEO expecting from a CIO? A strategic mindset. So we ask them, what is a strategic mindset? He says, I want my CIO to see the bigger picture. So what is the bigger picture? 70 mm? So he said, no, that's not what I'm looking at. This is very simple. I want the CIO to understand where we are heading. We are wanting to grow geographically into 20 countries, or 15 countries, 5 countries. I want him to think broader, from compliance issue, go-to-market issues, right? Many other issues which can help business grow beyond IT strategy. So we asked him, what is that you're looking for? He said, I want my CIO to think beyond IT. I want him actually to outsource IT and play a role of the co-pilot along with the CEO, right? They say that CIOs should be visionaries. They said, I don't want to follow. So we asked several CEOs, you're the boss. If they don't follow you, whom will you follow? So listen, I want a CIO who can take my 1 hour time in a week and present me case studies of successful models in our industry worldwide and tell me, listen, boss, I think we should implement this. We'll do a POC. If my boy comes to me, then I would give him the budget. But quite often he says, we ask them to implement an idea based on global exposure. So strategic mindset is one of them. The next thing that CEO said is that I want my CIO to be a techno-strategist. So CIOs are expected to be technology strategists. So they should have the ability to say yes or no. He says, always I don't want my CIOs to be yes boys. Yes sir. Yes sir. He says yes sir, no yes no. Is what the CEO says. I want somebody to say, listen, what you say is right, but here is another thought process. And prove it with the casing point. So they want case studies which can help convince the CEO. So what do they want us to do? They want CIOs to help to provide rich insights using analytics as an example. So CIO is expected to provide rich insights into customer behavior, productivity, logistics issues, to help business expand to new geos, introduce new services, gain competitive advantage, enhance productivity, enhance net promoter score, which is customer. Now this is the role that the CEO is expecting the CIO to play. Otherwise, there will be challenges. They also want CIOs to make strategic decisions. So CIO is expected to become part of the company strategic meetings along with CFO, COO, and CEO, and sometimes even the board, discuss the strategy and future of the company. How many of us participate in such meetings? Fantastic. Fantastic. So CEOs are expecting CIOs to make strategic decisions, which are very, very important. They want CIOs to sell their idea. We ask them, why do you say this? I mean, don't they sell the idea, don't they come and share with you? Then some of the CIOs feel shy and sometimes fear the ideas will go rejected. So we ask the CEO, if you were to be brought into contact with an idea which you think is not palatable, what would you do? He says, if the idea is not good, then I would say the idea is not good. If the idea is feasible economically and otherwise, I would give them an opportunity to probably go with a POC. But he says, we want CIOs to sell their thought process. They want CIOs to be innovators. This slide is all about innovation. They want them to present their innovation, the case, do a cost-benefit analysis, and then encourage the CEO to adopt that new technology. That's extremely important. If we can't sell our ideas to our bosses, it is not going to happen. We cannot become transformational agents. So today, CIO is supposed to be a transformational agent. Are we not supposed to be a transformational agent? Yes. Yeah? Yes. Of course. I mean, you're the change agents, and the awards again celebrated today. So I'm sure each of you have played some key role in your organization, and that's exactly what the CEOs are looking for. They're looking at CIOs to be enabling technology to drive business opportunities. They want the CIO to speak the language you mentioned about in terms of ROI, TCO, CapEx, OpEx, whatever it be. They want the language to be spoken by this business. So it is time that many of us also try and reskill. If required, we should go back to OP school, spend 18 months, even if it's part-time, we can please go back to OP schools. Otherwise, the CEOs out there to get us out of the job. Trust me. The board is getting impatient. I know a few of our CIO friends who've been asked to move and they're out of the jobs because they're so good at technology, but not at strategy. So if we don't reskill ourselves, the CEO is going to push us out of the job. The board is going to push us out of the job. Despite the fact that we contributed in that company for 15 years, 20 years, the change in the last 5 years is very rapid. So it's important that we reskill ourselves, which is very, very important. So, for example, I'm sure all of us are managing data centers. So one of the things we could do as an innovation in a company is bring in energy efficiency in a data center. So what could you do? I mean, we know that in a data center, typically, server power consumption probably contributes to 40%. Energy consumption of refrigeration systems contributes to 40%. And likewise, many of those parameters was mentioned here. If the PUE is a certain percentage and we're spending, let's say, 20 lakhs a year on power or 50 lakhs a year on power, the ask from CFO and the board is to reduce the cost, right? And how do we do that? For example, we could have some of these innovations, airflow management, new technology cooling solutions, eco-friendly UPS, tools to optimize energy, virtualization and refreshment of technology. Some of these are very simple examples of how we can bring in a change. Very small, not very strategic, but a small movement towards change. All of us are change agents. So I'm sure all of these are 10 ways by which we can bring in the cost and efficiency in an organization. Now, how many of us aspire to be a CEO? How many of us? Raise your hands. All right, good. So the question is, do you think any CIO has actually taken up the role of a CEO anywhere in the world? Yes? Right? Good. Perfect. So here's an example. Mike Capone was head of product development and CIO at ADP for 26 years. And he took the role of CEO for 3 years, almost, and now he is the CEO of Click, right? Now this goes on to prove that those of us who are in technology domain are well equipped to assume the leadership role of CEO. CEO is a larger responsibility, but it comes with a major advantage of the CIO. The CIO himself is a change agent, or she is a change agent, aren't we? A CEO depends on CIO for everything. What if a CIO assumes the role of a CEO? Imagine, we can blend strategy and technology together. I think this is what we really loved about our research. And it says that many of CIOs are assuming leadership roles beyond the current portfolio. They're getting to the board as a first step. Eventually would become CEOs. Yeah. Next. So what are the success mantras for somebody like him? Engagement of customers, end users, collaboration with LOBs, IT-enabled business strategies, and innovation. These were his mantras for growth. And you will see all the keywords there, whatever we discussed briefly a while ago in terms of Q&A. So you too can, all of us, right? It's a matter of time. And you're more equipped, better equipped than even a CFO to drive strategies. The CFO typically talks about only financial strategies. We talk about alignment of how IT can actually enable business. So what are the attributes? So in our survey, briefly, we're trying to find out what are the key attributes of a CIO when it takes over the role of a CEO, right? So we looked at those attributes, yeah? So leadership qualities is number one. Good strategist with innovative mindset. We have not ranked it, but these are some of the findings. They say that a CIO can help generate revenues by introducing new products, efficiency, or enhancing the market coverage. Is somebody who can really fit into the CEO's shoes. But there is a bug. And the bug is this. Look at this. Skill sets of a CIO, I mean qualifications. 62% of them in a survey recently that we were reviewing said 62% of the CIOs are computer science graduates. And around 18%, which is very good, is engineering. Business and finance, 6%. This is a disaster. If a CIO has to assume the role of a CEO, all of us have to go back to the B schools. And today we have many opportunities, even for minds. We can do a weekend or an executive MBA. It allows all age groups, and it doesn't matter. All of you are very young. I see here, we're not across 60s. So I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to enhance the skills and move the 6% to maybe around 40%. Then we get into the groove, right? So we took an example of a CIO who actually leveraged technology. He typically assessed around 100 billion data points with the help of machine learning and algorithm. And he helped roll out a new product. And it increased the sales revenue by almost 15 to 18%. Now that the board felt was very strategic. They felt that only a CIO can do, not a CEO, right? Which means that all of us have the real opportunity to make it to the C-level office as a CEO. Enhanced revenue is one of the numbers. So the other attributes that we look for in the CIO who can grow to be CEO is the special qualities we're talking about: tolerance for ambiguity, technology agnostic, no bias in terms of technology, social and emotional intelligence, ability to work with LOBs and customer groups, inside and outside. Flexibility and humility is a common thing that we found. Capacity to learn and unlearn as well, right? Very important, the burning desire to learn. And last is delivering performance. Because CEOs are expected to deliver performance, like in the cricket match, who's the captain of India? Virat Kohli. And when he takes the strike, what do you expect him to do? Sorry? a century, a winning match. We want him to score and win for the country. So I think all CIOs who will eventually assume the role of a CEO have the following attributes that we talked about: leadership qualities, innovation, a good strategist, generate revenues, the special qualities that the board is asking for, and deliver performance most of all. So I think this is where we stand as far as the basic research is concerned now. More will come out as we launch and publish the book. But these are basic glimpses, no secret, no copyright. These are basics. Eventually, as the book comes in, we will certainly celebrate with you. And it will bring deeper insights and also will be a self-help book in a rich manner. So this book will be a global, will bring in global insights. We are talking about only India, we are talking about the European markets, the Southeast Asian markets, the APAC markets, and North American, South American markets. Very comprehensive. So that's where we conclude in terms of the CIO story. I'll take maybe another 5 to 7 minutes, with your permission, to quickly run through in terms of what Control S does. You know Control S. With your blessings, we grow today. We help businesses checking data very safely, and that's the business we are in. You know us, we're a tier 4 data center, guaranteeing the industry highest uptime. We own almost close to 1 million square feet at the moment. We operate multiple data centers in the country today. Hyderabad, we have 2 data centers, Noida one by one. Second one is coming up, Bangalore and Hyderabad. So Chennai, we own a data center alongside BSNL. So we're launching now phase 2 in Mumbai, which is going to be 100,000 plus square feet data center. This is going to be ready for inaugural sometime in April 2019. We invested on close to 200 crores here. So today we are trusted by the world's best brands. You may have seen this before. The world's largest telecom company, the world's largest cloud player, the world's largest media company, the world's largest bank, the world's largest ERP services company, the world's largest financial services. And we also serve the world's largest automobile manufacturer. So if you look at it, 80% of all new banks are with Control S, right? So we serve brands like SAP, Panasonic, TBS, FedEx, all these brands. Few of you, I'm sure, we serve them as well. 2 of the top 5 pharma companies in India, 2 of the top 5 media companies in India, the car manufacturers, 2 of the top 5 global financial services. One thing we take pride in is our team, which has worked diligently over the last 10 years, the operation. With your blessings, we've grown. One thing which the team worked tirelessly towards was zero downtime. We achieved that, and it's not tough for us. I think we enabled our customers succeed by providing them zero downtime. So that's been one of the significant things. In terms of services, we provide everything right from retail and backspace to wholesale. So today we are emerging as the largest player. So we provide private suites and power shells. In terms of our differentiation, of course, SLA is one of them. We are virtually near zero downtime, 8-zone security. In fact, in Delhi, we have a 9-zone security, career neutrality, and lowest power bills. We enjoy the lowest PUE in the industry in India. We've had about 80 innovations. So one of the things is our CIO also happens to be an innovator. He has innovated 2 products which have added close to around $200 million to our organization. $200 million. We now play a key role in business as well. So what it means is that though we are a data center worker, we are a service provider, our CIO has the opportunity to innovate products which generate revenue. In terms of uptime, in terms of cost savings that we bring into POE, we are 20%, 30%. In fact, at times we also guarantee 120 seconds downtime. Should we experience something like this, then we don't charge our customers for that. We never had to really leverage that. The services were up and running all the time. So in terms of carrier neutrality, we have all the telecom players, payment gateways, and the service providers within the Latency is very minimalistic in terms of network. Yes, today we offer tier 3 DC facilities and services at the cost of tier 3. That's our uniqueness today. In terms of zones of security, we have around 8 to 9 zones. Right from the point of entry to the time we touch the server, we have close to 8 to 9 gates in terms of security. The brands that we serve, some of them here, and we also do, besides this, design and consulting. We build the ONDC data center, we build the NSC data center, we build the data center likewise. And then we have a subsidiary company called Cloud4C. I'm sure you heard about our brand. Cloud4C is a born in India public cloud, and it's going global. Founded by our young entrepreneur, Sridhar. Yeah, I'm sure you will have the opportunity to listen to him several times. Sridhar's actually traveling overseas. So we now present in almost close to 20 countries, Cloud4C, and 40 locations. And that is right from Japan to USA. So we present in USA, Mexico, Middle East 4 countries, India, Sri Lanka, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and likewise. In terms of our comprehensive service portfolio, we have something called as the community cloud, which we, the ERP community cloud, the banking community cloud, the insurance community cloud is getting rolled out. And we specialize in cloud managed services. So we provide, should any of our customers require infrastructure provisioning on AWS, Google, or otherwise Azure, our teams are capable enough to provide those services. So these are cloud managed services where we do all the portfolios that you are trying to operating. These are the global brands that we serve right now, right from the US to Australia. So you see the best of brands in each of these countries, for example, Indonesia, Indonesia leading brand in Indonesia. Japan's number one brand. These are the customers we serve globally in Cloud4C. So you see many different brands in IT, financial services, so thank you very much for your time. We'll have several opportunities to talk today evening. It'll be a pleasure to have a chat with you and discuss several of the things that you guys have listened at the beginning of the presentation. So thanks very much, and once again, congratulations to all of you. I'm sure we'll celebrate the day. Thank you. Thank you.
Rao for giving us the presentation, and a round of applause for him once again. I know all of you are waiting for eagerly for the awards function. It will start soon enough. But before that, I will request Mr. Rao to come back on stage. There is a fireside chat that we have lined up. Sanjay Mohapatra is going to ask a few questions to Mr. Rao, so please put your hands together for both of them.
बंदे ज्वाइन पे कौन कर रहे हैं
I think you have come at a time where we are going through things. One is bad weather, is high. The other one is a pleasant weather. Winter is here. So when did you land and how do you find it?
I think for us, we have been sort of like which is slightly more warmer. That is a welcome change. We enjoyed the weather last evening. In fact, I didn't put on my jacket at all. That's why you see me in the way. But I think more importantly, we were looking forward to this evening. Change agents, like I said earlier, you want to cheer for perhaps. You and Sanjay were doing an amazing job by recognizing the stalwarts of the industry and expanding the portfolio beyond the hump.
So both of us are in between hour, right? So I'll straight away hit the questions. Right? So I have been watching controllers growing from strength to strength, creating data centers one after another in the outside also. Where you are going to other countries, America, Europe, many, you have got a long way to go. But so far, how has been the journey?
For us, the journey has been very, very satisfying. We thank the industry for where we are today. We started as underdogs. We were funded by Boxes Capital, the NYC, and we had major competition in the industry. We started as underdogs, and it's all the CIOs who are here who actually helped us grow. We started from scratch, zero revenues on day one. Today we clock close to 500 crores. But I think it's been a very satisfying journey. We have learned a lot thanks to our customers, right, from banking to other verticals. It's given us a lot of insights into how we can improve our services. Zero downtime that we typically claim is not our forte. I think it all came from our customers. Their motivation, their aspirations to provide best services to the customers, encourage us to provide best.
In order to keep you growing, we need to do something very new. Every time we need to reinvent, need to do newer and newer things, so that attraction becomes more. You add lots of value to the customers to your offerings. So, what is there new for Controllers now?
So, from the time we began Controllers, we had a choice to build a tier 3. So I'm sure all of you have entrepreneurial mindset. For an entrepreneur to bring in money to build a data center, typically like ours, costs anywhere between $100 to $200. 200 crores. And so when we started journey as Controllers, we wanted to be a tier 4 and not tier 3. Primarily because that provides the best uptime. That's asked from the customer. And can you have an e-commerce company which is #1 in India going down every 5 minutes a day, right? Or WhatsApp or LinkedIn? Can we afford to have them down? No. I don't think any of us will appreciate WhatsApp going down for half an hour a day. It's going to be a nightmare for users. So I think there's been a business ask, and that has encouraged us to innovate. So we had 2 or 3 innovations. One was about disaster recovery as a service, which has now become the industry benchmark. In fact, the idea of DR as a service came from you friends. In fact, Sridhar had a meeting with one of the CIOs, and he was saying, my CEO is not allocating the budget for my disaster recovery. And I heard you're an innovator, can you help me? So Sridhar came back and told the tech team that, listen, we got to address the CIO's problem. Try and build a technology which is at a low cost. 2 months into it, the team said, we cannot do what you're asking for. He said, no, I promised the CIO we have to do something. And that's how the second team, which actually worked on the disaster recovery as a service, came up with a model where a bare minimum hardware will be deployed for the entire data, right? Stack applications, whatever the rest of the hardware. 100% will load it up when the disaster is declared. And so the first disaster recovery as a service was launched. We never looked at innovations in energy efficiency. And then tier 4 itself was a USP for us. But now we're trying to take the leap of faith into hyperscale. So we're building the world's largest hyperscale data center in India. So we're building the 150 megawatts data center, tier 4 data center in Hyderabad, mostly powered by solar. And we're coming with the second hyperscale data center in Mumbai, which will be 100 megawatts, again tier 4. And the third one would be a 70 megawatts data center in Chennai, again tier 4. So this is the plan we have in terms of rollout. I think all of them will eventually get rolled out in the next 2.5 calendar years.
We are hearing a lot about hyperscale. Why actually hyperscale? What is the need of that? Enough of lab space.
So I think data localization is one of the key areas that is compelling the data center providers to look at larger space. Um, all of us as CIOs dealing with larger data, right? Can I ask you a question if you don't mind? Has your data grown drastically over the last 5 years versus the last 15 years? Yes? So even in personal life, we were using probably some pen drives, XYZ to store data. Today, every family has got at least one TV or a half a TV, right, which has got their personal data, not official data. The data is exploding at a rate of almost like maybe 1,000% for every business because businesses are growing, they're going global. So one is the data localization, second is the data explosion, business growth. Third is the anticipated business growth because of IoT. We're going to have millions and billions of devices connected to IoT. Connected cars, connected spouses, connected buses, connected drainages, connected signals, connected whatnot. So every one of those devices is going to be pinging every millisecond. You can imagine how many zettabytes of data is going to be actually generated. So that requires storage and a safe and secure storage. So data centers become an opportunity for all of them. Then you have analytics, you have newer technologies which will take a huge amount of data, and storage will become a key criteria, availability will become a key criteria. I think all of us, including our competition in the industry, are getting up for large data growth across the world.
This leads me to ask you one question regarding your plans around data center. In a couple of years from now, you will be bringing out have you identified customers as the customer, any of the customers approached you for the requirement?
Well, I think in a marriage, a guy has to identify a girl and the girl has to identify a guy. So it's very natural, it's a big guy. Since you asked the question, our Mumbai second data center, so we already have one data center, which is in Mumbai. The second one we just started constructing around 6 months back, not even 3 months back. The capacity is sold out, right? And that's around close to 132,000 square feet. It's already sold out, it's full. Which means the third one, the 100 megawatts is ready for now construction. We acquired a land. The 100 megawatts is going to get ready now. Now what it means is that it's telling sign of the need for data storage in the country. And hyperscale will become the new normal eventually. It's not going to be hyperscale is big now. I think half a decade from now, hyperscale will become the new normal.
I think a lot about data privacy, the legislation. So what are your views on data?
I think all of us will want our data to be protected, isn't it? You wouldn't want your neighbors to spy on your data, right? Who wants their bedroom to be spied? So I think data localization is a welcome move by the government. Congratulations to the government for taking this up. I think we've been taken for a ride for many decades now. Many overseas companies who serve in India still do not operate with all the data in India. It's time, like GDPR, we also have IDPR in the country. And our citizen data, children's data, spouse data, business data, everything that is got to do with business and individuals in the country should be stored in India. It will of course drive one in terms of employment as well, besides the fact that there will be data explosion. It will also drive employment. Everybody speaks about it. The new skill sets required to manage that still future employment. Besides the fact that we will secure data.
In one of your slides, you showed your cloud journey. That's cloud for C, right? So how has been your journey? What is the progress on that?
Cloud 4C was one more innovation which we thought about. We always believe that if we don't reinvent, we'll vanish. We'll vanish in thin air, like the dinosaurs. So in 2012, we thought about cloud. We believe that cloud will revolutionize the way businesses will operate and CIOs will embrace cloud. So the idea was to build a made in India public cloud. So we built a cloud called Control 4C in 2014. And believe me, we launched it and we crashed it. Launched it, crashed it. We said, what do we do? Went back to the drawing board, fixed nuts and bolts. Version 2 was launched in 2015. We took off again there was turbulence. So somewhere around the next 6 months, we fixed bugs and one, what came out of the R&D labs was a product called Cloud4C. Cloud4C is now the world's first tier 4 cloud. 4-copy architecture. It's got 4 copies, so you can give us 1 copy, we replicate that into 4 copies and make sure you have 0 data loss. And comes with highest uptime SLA. So we compete with the likes of AWS, Azure, Google, and Alibaba in the public cloud space. But we said we can't take on those giants. They're too big, like a baby and then a man of 27 years. So what we said is we will go into tier 2 countries besides India. And we spread out to 20 countries now, like from US to Japan. And in those markets where the competition is more there. And then again, we found a challenge. So public cloud is a new, not everybody has implemented that. We launched something called as a banking community. And that currently is I must thank all of you in the financial and embraced us. We have 16 plus banks operating on our banking community cloud at 0 cost. The capex was 0. Other banks there's 0 capex. No, sir. It is near 0. It's in 0, but there is a cost, but not as much as you will if you had invested in complete capex. So likewise, around 11 plus banks have embraced banking community cloud with us. We launched the community cloud now in Middle East and in Europe. So 1 bank in Europe and 1 bank in the Middle East is onboarded on our community cloud, banking community. The second experiment we did was the ERP community cloud for the manufacturing sector, where we said, what are the challenges faced by those companies who are using it? HANA became real necessity for many of them. So the SAP community cloud is one of which we have innovated. And now we have close to 500 customers powered on that, 100 globally. And soon we're going to be rolling out our insurance community.
In this batch, almost covered everything. And final question is kind of about what is your message for this? How about representation from all the regions here, sectors?
So my message to CIO friends is, I've interacted with most of the CIOs. They're very beautiful people. They work very hard. I know CIOs who don't sleep at nights sometimes. They work really hard to make sure that the board's expectations are met. It can be a migration issue, it could be a new project. But those nights which are spent to enable the organization are forgotten when there's a small crisis. My request to all of us is build equity with the C-level, work very closely with your bosses and the board. Maybe you could also bring in an opportunity to do a tech workshop for your LOBs, and you be the champion of that. And then eventually get into the strategy room and drive strategies in the organization. Otherwise, the board is out there to look for new CIOs, bring in strategic mindset. My only request, as I presented in the research, is go back to B school, learn basics like EBITDA, debt equity, gross, basic terms and report, ROI calculations, mergers and acquisitions, how to deal with it. If it's possible, go back to the B school, invest in yourself. I know of a CIO who was sponsored by his company to go to a B school, and they elevated him after that. So I think it's very important to reinvent ourselves. The future times are going to be slightly more challenging, but at the same time very bright. So I do not want to end with that sad note, but I think there's a lot more happening out there in the industry. If transformation is happening in the industry, all of you are responsible. I don't think anybody in the industry can support digital transformation minus the CIO. It cannot be complete with a CEO or a CFO. It cannot be complete with the board. It is incomplete without a CIO. So thanks once again, and wish you all a great evening. We'll celebrate your success and awards as we go along today.
Thank you. Thank you, Srinivas, for coming to us on the platform of CIO 200 or change and 200. That was Mr. B.S. Rao, Vice President Marketing Control S. Very clear, and all the best to your journey of the company. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rao. Thank you, Sanjay, for that interesting discussion. Now, we've come to that point, that thing that all of us have been waiting for the entire day, the awards night. Before that, a few reminders. If you want to visit the Control S Data Center, that visit is being organized tomorrow, please register your interest at the Control S booth outside. We are streaming this event live on our website. If you want to show your presence at this summit, we have a hashtag change8is200. You can take a photograph. We have selfie wall, and you can post it on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook. Do drop your visiting cards at the depot booth. We have a lucky draw, and the result of that lucky draw will be out soon. There is a Google Mini up for grabs. And all those interested in playing the cricket and golf, I hope you have registered your interest at the registration booth. I see there are many sports enthusiasts here who are looking forward to the activities that will be happening tomorrow. Just a reminder that you take the steps today so that you can enjoy the sporting events tomorrow. We will begin the awards night in just a bit. I'm sure you have heard very interesting ideas today, strategies to make your businesses and your companies more agile. It is the time that we now recognize and award all those CEOs that have done pioneering work for their companies, bringing new technologies, new information systems, so that their companies are more agile in this digitally connected world. So this is a testament to the achievements of all CIOs across the country. Congratulations to all the winners. We would like to call upon Mr. B.S. Rao, Vice President Marketing, Control S, to please come on the stage and give away the awards. Mr. Rao is taking a break. He was speaking for some time. He'll be back in no time, and we will start the award ceremony. We are also waiting for other participants to come into the hall and join in on the celebration where we are giving the awards away. It's just a matter of a few more minutes and we'll get the ball rolling and recognize the efforts put in by CIOs through the year in adopting new technologies, in bringing about changes in the information systems in their companies, making them more agile and lean. So let's see, Mr. Rao has just come and we'll start with would request Mr. Rao, Mr. B.S. Rao, Vice President Marketing, Control S, to please come on the stage and give away the awards. We have a number of categories of awards. We are going to be honoring those that have done iconic work. We will be honoring many CIOs across industries in bringing innovative technologies and applications that have made their businesses more friendly for the customers, for the employees. Mr. Rao, I would like to please come on stage and give away our first set of awards. A big hand for Mr. Rao, please. All right, so let's get the awards evening going. Let's start with our first category of awards. The first category of awards is for Icon of the Industry, and the first award in this category goes to Mr. Vipul Anand, Senior Vice President IT and Group CIO in Web. Please put your hands together. The next award for the Icon of the Industry goes to Mr. Rupesh Nair, Chief Information Officer of JCB India Limited. Big round of applause for the winner, please. Mr. Rupesh Nair, Chief Information Big round of applause, please. The next award for the icon of the industry goes to Mr. Mohammed Wasim, the Vice President IT at Sapient. Please give a big round of applause to Mr. Mohammed Wasim. The next award for the icon of the industry goes to Mr. Arun Kumar, Director IT at Pencil. Please put your hands together for Mr. Arun Kumar. The award for the icon of the industry goes to Rupinder Goyal, Senior Advisor and Partner at Smart Head Consulting. Please clap for Mr. Rupinder Goyal, Senior Advisor and Partner at Smart Head Consulting. Congratulations to the winner. The next award for icon of the industry goes to Mr. Anil Nama, CIO of Control S Data Centers. Please put your hands together for Mr. Anil Nama. Sanjay is accepting the award on behalf of Mr. Anil Nama. The next award for the icon of the industry goes to Arun Goyal, CIO at CG Enterprises. Please put your hands together for Mr. Arun Goyal. Would request Mr. Arun Goyal to please make his way to the stage. We had heard Mr. Goyal earlier in the day in the panel discussion. Okay, I think he's not here. We will move on to the next award. The award for the icon of the industry goes to Mr. Ashok Kannan, Vice President IT, Syntex Industries. Would request Mr. Ashok Kannan, Vice President IT, Syntex Industries, to please come up on the stage. A big round of applause for Mr. Ashok Kannan. The next award for the icon of the industry goes to Dr. J.S. Sodhi, Group CIO at the Amity Education Group. Please put your hands together for Dr. J.S. Sodhi. Congratulations to the winner. The next award for icon of the industry goes to Dr. Sunil Kumar Gupta, CIO and GMIT of Ministry of Steel ERU. Please put your hands together for Dr. Sunil Kumar Gupta. The next award for the the icon of the industry goes to Dr. Vishad Rahangdale, the CIO of Electrotherm. The award for the icon of the industry goes to Mr. Susar Tinwala, the CIO of Standard Chartered Bank. Please put your hands together for Mr. Tinwala. Congratulations to the winner. The next award for the icon of the industry goes to Kumar Rasool, CIO, Al Safir Group. Please put your hands together for Mr. Kumar Rasool. The next award for the icon of the industry goes to Mr. Manmohan Goyal, Advisor IT Corporate and CIO at Tide Motor Oil Company Limited. Please put your hands together for Mr. Manmohan Goyal. Right. The next award for icon of the industry goes to Mr. Arun Goyal, the CIO of HCP Enterprises. I request him to please come on stage and accept the award. The next icon of the industry award goes to Mr. Meheriyar Patel, Group CIO, Gina and Company. Please put your hands together for Mr. Patel. The icon of the industry award goes to Mr. Pankaj Mittal, CIO, 5EM Ventures. Please put your hands together for Mr. Pankaj Mittal, the CIO at 5EM Ventures. We would like to thank Mr. Rao for coming on the stage and giving away the awards. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the podium here. I would now like to call upon Mr. Sanjeev Mohapatra, publisher at Info Media and of Enterprise IT World, and Sanjay Mahapatra, editor Enterprise IT World, to please come on the stage and give away the next set of awards.
मेरे को कहाँ दिया था?
For the icon of the industry goes to Partha Ghosh, CIO of Uno Minda Group. Please put your hands together for Mr. Partha Ghosh. Congratulations to the winner. The next award for the icon of the industry goes to Prakash Kumar, Head IT, BMW India Group. Please put your hands together for Mr. Prakash Kumar. Icon of the Industry Award goes to Priyavata Sarangi, Group CIO, Eastman Auto and Farm. Please put your hands together for Priyavata Sarangi. The award for the icon of the industry goes to Punish Lamba, Group CIO, CK Birla Group. Please put your hands together for Mr. Punish Lamba, Group CIO, CK Birla Group. The next icon of the industry award goes to Rajesh Garg, CIO and DB Digital Transformation Solutions, Rota India. Please put your hands together for Mr. Rajesh Garg. The next award for the icon of the industry goes to Mr. Ravinder Arora, Head Information Security, Iris Software. Please round of applause for Mr. Ravinder Arora. CIO, FCB, Ulka Advertising. Please put your hands together. Ritu Madhavi. The next award for the icon of the industry goes to Sandeep Shah, partner Deloitte. Big hand of applause for Sandeep Shah. Congratulations to the winner. The icon of the industry award goes to Shirish Patwardhan, Vice President IT, Dynamic Logistics. Please clap for Mr. Patwardhan. Congratulations to the winner. The icon of the industry award goes to Srinivasa Rao Mupaneni, Group CIO of Telangana State Cooperative Bank. goes to Subbarao Hegde, CIO at Avon Innovations. Please put your hands together for Mr. Hegde. Of the industry goes to Mr. Umesh Mehta, Global CIO, Jubilant Life Sciences. Please put your hands together for Mr. Umesh Mehta.
Bank, they have put the next venture.
I think Mr. Mehta is not in the hall now. We'll give his award away later. Let's move on to the next award. I think only Congratulations to the next award for Icon of the Industry goes to Mr. Sanjay Mishra, Head Info Systems at L&T Construction. Please put your hands together for Mr. Mishra. The next award for the Icon of the Industry goes to Mr. Vivek Khare, Director IT and OT at GSN Gates. Please put your hands together for Mr. Vivek Khare. Thank you so much, Sanjay and Sanjeev, for coming on stage and giving away the awards. I would now like to call upon Mr. G. Prashant, co-founder of InstaSafe, to come across on the stage now and give away the awards. The next set of awards will be recognizing the efforts across different industries, and we will award the pioneering CIOs from different industries who have done a great job this year. I would request Mr. G. Prashant, co-founder InstaSafe, to please come on the stage to give away the awards. I will request your patience. Very busy at the stall.
Old plate. Old plate.
We call upon Mr. Prashant ji to give away the awards a little later. In the interim, I will request Mr. Sunil Sharma, Managing Director Sales, Sophos, to please come on the stage to give away the next set of awards. There is good news, more good news than just the awards. Mr. Sharma is going to announce the name of the winners who won the lucky draw. It's over to Mr. Sharma.
Not the lucky winners, rather people who acquired knowledge after the presentation in the morning. I don't know how many of you were there as part of Sofo's presentation, but guys, people who were not there really missed a lot of wisdom. That is one. Secondly, I'm sure everyone is aware about Sofo's 1985, 33 years. This company has been there in this country. Working. I have 17 branches. Sales, pre-sales, everyone is working. In each location, you will find my people. I have 4 or 5 people out here looking after entire North region and director channel sales. A lot of people. So after your, once the award is finished, then you can go and meet and contact. And you can leave and go to our booth also. We have our people who have come down from Ahmedabad especially. But short and crisp EDR kind of solutions available. Okay, EDR. People have been talking and thinking about it. Just talk about it before you take any decision. Now, in the morning we had a quiz. And there were 3 winners.
Why didn't you do it?
And for that, pardon?
Why didn't you do it second time?
I think Sanjay is short of time, so the 3 award winners, I would like quickly to come them on the stage. Shirish from Dynamic Logistics, Vineet and Upar Singh from FIS Global. Give them a big round of applause for all these 3 gentlemen.
Doesn't hurt if there's more coming in with awards and gifts. Okay, let's go ahead to the next set of awards. Like I mentioned, these awards are sectoral awards where CIOs have done exceptional work in their fields. Let's start. In the banking and finance industry, the award for excellence goes to Mr. Amit Kodikar, Vice President IT, Motilal Oswal Securities. Please put your hands together for Mr. Amit Kodikar. For excellence in banking and finance, the award goes to Amit Jaurkar, Executive Vice President IT at Choice International. Please put your hands together for Amit Jaurkar. For excellence in banking and finance, the award goes to Anindya Ray, Vice President Citigroup. Would request Mr. Anindya Ray, Vice President of Citigroup, please come on stage and accept this award. I think Mr. Ray is not in the hall. We give him on stage later. Let's move on to the next award for excellence in banking and finance. The next award goes to Mr. Balvinder Singh Banga, CIO of Sonata Finance. Please put your hands together for Mr. Banga. Congratulations to the winner. A round of applause for the winner, please. For excellence in banking and finance, the next award goes to Mr. Bhavesh Lakhani, SVP and CTO, SBI Mutual Fund. For Mr. Lakhani. in Banking and Finance, the award goes to Colonel Vikas Yadav, AVP IT and Security at Max Life Insurance. Please put your hands together for Colonel Yadav. Congratulations to the winner. For excellence in banking and finance, the next award goes to Deepak Rao, Head IT, Arihant Capital Markets. Please put your hands together for Mr. Deepak Rao. Congratulations to the winner. The next award for excellence in banking and finance goes to Mr. Harish Sharma, Group Vice President, Toyota Financial Services India. Please put your hands together for Mr. Harish Sharma. Congratulations to the winner. For excellence in banking and finance, the next award goes to Mr. Mukesh Mehta, CTO at Batliwala and Kadani Securities. Please put your hands together for Mr. Mukesh Mehta. Congratulations to the winner for banking and finance. The next award goes to Pinkesh Ambavat, CTO, CRIM Highmark. Congratulations to the winner. The award for excellence in banking and finance goes to R.K. Shastri, AVP IT, State Bank of India. Please put your hands together for Mr. R.K. Shastri. Congratulations to the winner. For excellence in banking and finance, the award goes to Syed Salim, Head IT Infrastructure at Bajaj Finance. Please put your hands together for Mr. Syed Salim. Congratulations to the winner. The award for excellence in banking and finance goes to Sharaf Garg, Associate Vice President IT at Relicare Enterprises. Please put your hands together for Sharaf Garg. Congratulations to the winner. The award for excellence in banking and finance goes to Vineet Love, Senior Manager IT, BDO Relicare Health. I see Mr. Love making his way from the back of the hall. Please put your hands together for the winner. For excellence in banking and finance, the award goes to Vishal Anand Gupta, CIO at Relicare Health Insurance. Relicare Health Insurance. Please put your hands together for Mr. Vishal Anand Gupta. Congratulations to the winner. And the last award in the banking and finance category goes to Mr. Vivek Bharia, CIO, KNP Securities. Please put your hands together for Mr. Vivek Bharia. Thank you so much, Mr. Sharma, for giving away the awards.
Congratulations, not only the people who have got the award, but to your families actually. Okay? So, big round of applause for your families who have been supporting you, to be a winner. Thank you very much.
We will now move on to the next set of awards from the education industry, recognizing the good work being done by CIOs in the education industry. For this, I would like to call upon Mr. Rajat Sahu of InstaSafe to please come across the platform and give away the award in this category. So let's start. The first award for excellence in education goes to Ashwini Chopra, Head IT, All India Management Association. Please put your hands together for Ashwini Chopra, Head IT, All India Management Association. Congratulations to the winner. The next award for excellence in the education sector goes to Parveen Kumar Sharma, Consultant IT and CTO at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Please put your hands together for Mr. Parveen Kumar Sharma. Congratulations to the winner. The next award goes to Dr. Sunil Kumar Pandey, Director IT and Head Technology Infra at Institute of Technology and Science. Please put your hands together for Dr. Sunil Kumar Pandey. I think Mr. Pandey is not here. We will read his award and we will give it to him. Let's move on with the awards in the for excellence in the education sector. The award goes to JP Jameen, Head of USS Manipal Global. Please put your hands together for JP Jameen. The award for excellence in the education sector goes to Satish Pabnoy, CTO, Pathways Group. Please put your hands together for Mr. Pabnoy. The next award for education sector goes to Mr. Vishwadeep Singh, Director IT at Aptech. We will now move on to another sector and we will award the CIOs from the energy and resources sector. The Award for Excellence in the Energy and Resources Sector goes to Mr. Amit Kapil, Group CTO at Capado. Please put your hands together for Mr. Amit Kapil. The next award for excellence in energy resources sector goes to Mr. Ashok Verma, CIO TVEA Energy India. Please put your hands together for Mr. Ashok Verma, who's making his way up to the dais. Congratulations to the winner. The next award for excellence in the energy and resources sector goes to Mr. Bonitesh Mishra, ex-Vice President IT and DI at Simba Network.
Carry
The next award for excellence in energy and resources goes to Nagender Singh, Joint Director at HPCL. Please put your hands together for Mr. Singh from HPCL. Please put your hands together for Mr. Singh from HPCL. The next award for excellence in energy and resources goes to Mr. Saurav Das, CIO SN Mining Aditya Birla Group. Please clap for Mr. Saurav Das. The award for excellence in energy and resources goes to Mr. Vikas Gupta, CIO and Head IT, H Energy. Please put your hands together for Mr. Vikas Gupta. The next award in the energy and resources group goes to Mr. Yash, CISO of IOCL. Please put your hands together for the winner. Congratulations to the winner. The award for excellence in energy and resources goes to Mr. Yogesh Kumar, DGM IT, Lalitpur Power Generation Company. Please put your hands together for Mr. Yogesh Kumar. He's making his way on the dais. Please clap for him. We will move on to the next category, and here we will be recognizing the